at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow and every tongue confess that He is Lord. And Father, we thank you that you've given us this name. It's above every other name. And not only did you give us His name, but you've given us the opportunity to be in Him, to experience His life. So Lord, may we never take that for granted. And I pray now, Lord, that you'll speak to our hearts in these next few moments we're together. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, we went to a conference this week, as most of you know, and got back last night. I'm somewhere between here and Nashville today. I don't know, that trip just keeps getting longer and longer for some reason. I don't know why.
You want me to tell you? You want me to tell you?
Huh?
You want me to tell you?
What? I don't receive that. I rebuke that infection.
Those trips do get longer. They do get longer.
But it was a good time, good conference. Saw a lot of good speakers and heard some inspirational stories. Saw some authoritative preaching. It was all around. It was well worth the time. One inspirational story was of a couple. The husband had been having some kind of severe illness, thought he was having heart attacks. Finally, the wife took him to the doctor, and the doctor checked him out. When it was over, the doctor called his wife in. Not him, his wife. And she said, "What's wrong, Doc?" And he said, "Well, your husband is severely stressed. In fact, he's stressed. He's the worst I've ever seen. And if something doesn't change, within 6 to 12 months, he'll be dead. Was there anything we can do?" And he said, "Yes, there is." Okay. And so he said, "Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get all stress out of his life. Don't obligate him to do anything stressful. Whatever he wants around the house, do it. Don't make him do anything with the kids unless he wants to. Keep the house calm, quiet. Let him relax. Let him rest. And if you'll do that, within 6 months, he'll be back to normal, good to go." She said, "Okay." So she went out and got her husband. They got in the car and were driving home. And the husband said, "What did the doctor say?" She looked at him and said, "You're dying." So that was inspiration. No, there were some good ones there. Probably the best speaker overall was James Robinson. And I say that because his style was just what I related to better. Some of the others were good speakers, but their main thing was to come out and tell cute stories and jokes and, and warm up the crowd that way. He came out with both barrels blazing. I mean, he came out, boom, 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 and he was preaching like he used to. If you ever saw him years ago, when he was doing crusades, and I think he can still pull off a crusade today.
How old?
76. Turned 76 this week. And been through the ringer, which always helps. You say, "Ooh, that sounds bad." No, that's the purpose of the ringer, it's when God's trying to do something in us to make us better. And for him, that was losing the daughter to cancer. And so he shared a lot about his family and how important it is to have people in their life who will serve as a counselor and not just come in and try to correct them. And I heard Greg Warwick right after that. He shared about losing his son in a car accident and all the bad statements people gave him. And the grief is just one of those things that I hate to say it, but Christians are awful at, because they don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, and so they usually end up saying the wrong thing. And saying stuff like, some of the ones he shared he had heard was, "Well, God just needed another angel." He said, "That's not even good theology." picks the prettiest flowers first. Not really sure what. He said, my child is not a flower. And then he went through some more. And he said, the other thing they want to do is give you details. His son died in a car accident on the interstate. And he said he had people coming up to him and said, you know what, I was on the interstate that day and I got stuck behind your son's wreck. And said, when I got pulled up beside it, man, that was a mess. There was blood everywhere. So, anyway, he was good. He was a good spirit, too. Went to a lot of Greg Laurie. Greg Laurie. He's an evangelist.
I know this was
But he's the one that his assistant pastor just committed suicide not too long ago. I forget his name. You remember his name, didn't you?
Jared Wilson.
Yeah, Jared Wilson. And so he shared a lot about that, how they had his wife and their 3 kids cope with the situation. So it was well worth going to. I went to a lot of workshops. The one though, I kind of want to share a little bit of what I got out of it today because it applies to where we are. And it may apply to where you are individually, but I know it applies to where we are as a church. Because one of the things I continue to hear people say is, we want the church to grow. Is that right? Now, sure we do in quality, but I'm talking about quantity here. We want the church to grow, right? Okay. So, that means then, we've got to look at what we're doing to see if we're doing what would make somebody want to come here. Oh, it got quiet in this church. Well, for one thing, we've got to do is let people know we exist. I don't know about you, but I have people all the time say, now where are you, Pastor? New Covenant Christian. Where's that? Well, we're on 431 right across the street from North. Oh, you're that church we fly by going to the lake. Yeah, that's us. Church on the way to the lake. And so, somehow, some people don't know we exist at all. Some don't know anything about us. And so, what we want, I understand what we want to happen. I understand what we want to happen. We want God to knock people out of bed on Sunday morning and drag them to the shower against their will, throw them in the shower, get them bathed, drag them out of the shower, force clothes on them like the toddler, drag them to the car, throw them in the car, get in the seat with them, drive them down here to 3500 Reed Street, pull in here, park, drag them out of the car, drag them in here, set them on the pew, and say, now this is where you're going to go from now on.
Don't forget what was it running that wild.
That's right. That's what we want. We want God to just make it. But I'm going to tell you, we have a part to play in that too. We have a part for people to kind of get some idea of who we are before they get here. So we don't scare them to death. No, I know we won't do that. But we want them to see kind of who we are and what we do. And if we really want it to grow, God does do his part of drawing people. But we have a part to play too of being a welcoming body so that when they come here, they feel at home here. Because that is the issue when it comes to people deciding where they're going to go to church. Do I feel welcome there? And is this a family I want to be part of? So, the workshop I went to that was probably the best of all of them was a workshop on digital marketing. Now, I know everybody that doesn't like computers is like, oh. I hate to tell you, I wish we could keep Mayberry alive. I would love nothing better than to keep the Mayberry mentality alive and have old Sheriff Andy riding the streets where no crime ever happens and everybody's just wonderful and great. Everybody loves each other. And the most significant bad stuff that ever happens is when Otis turns himself into the jail for being drunk. I wish that's where we live. That it's not. We live in an age where most people, in fact, one of the stats they gave us was when it comes to social media, that being Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, which those would be three. Do you know the average amount of time a person spends on social media a day? How much?
About 6 hours.
Well, I know you don't, but I'm talking about average. 6, no, it's a little high. 2.5. 2.5 hours a day on social media. 41% of the world's population is on social media. I'm going to let that sink in. 41% of the world's population is on social media. That amounts to 3.2 billion social media users. Google, which is the world's largest search engine, handles 40,000 Google searches every minute. And we thought the Yellow Pages was one. I don't know about you, I never use Yellow Pages. We don't even get the phone books anymore. They're not even getting, well, you know why? They're so expensive. Oh, yeah. A lot of money to be in the Yellow Pages. So, what's changed? What's changed is the world we live in has changed. And one of the things, we talked about change a little bit last week, some things that we've already changed around here. Mark is an elder now. We even got business cards. I saw these back there. You want a card to give to somebody, tell them where the church is, we got them. I guess Dana did that, so right there. Dana ducked down when I said that. So story behind that. We're on Facebook. We've got right at 300 followers. Most of them aren't here. So I call them prospects. We're not doing anything on Instagram just because I haven't figured it out yet. I updated our Google business thing today, so that if you put in our church name, this ad should pop up. It's free. That tells you about the church. Okay? So we've done that. We've got a social media presence. As of last week, is it? We're on YouTube. We've got a YouTube channel. And unfortunately, I'm on it. What I want to do is find some way, I don't know if you can Photoshop this, but I want to get my image off and put Harrison Ford's image in. We just got to get his mouth moving so he's saying the same thing. So we're doing that. We got 2 new people helping out in the sound booth. I'm in the process of getting some cards printed that are prospect cards. And when I get them, what I want you to do is start writing down the names of people you know who need a church home. Now, I don't want the name of somebody who's been at First Baptist for 50 years. I'm talking about somebody who needs a church. Okay? We're not trying to recruit people from other churches. But there's plenty of folks out there that go nowhere. So as soon as I get those in, I'll give those out. You know, we're working on the bathroom. Should be getting that going pretty soon. We're going to make some changes over here, put a door, out, external door into the fellowship hall, So if you have problems with mobility, you won't ever have to pull these steps in. So we're trying to do some things to update the facilities, to update our outreach to other people, to give them more access to us. One of the things we've got to work on, and I'm really kind of at a loss to do it right now, so this is something I'm doing this week. But one thing we need is a church website. And on that website, we can put sermons, we can put information, we can put news, we can put John D's picture on there. We can do everything.
I can't tell you what a world
I'm checking.
There are some.
There are.
Good design.
There are. Now I know some in here aren't very happy about any of that. We just want to believe God's going to put them in a trance and make them drive here.
Not our choice. We don't want to have to deal with the funeral.
But the likelihood of that happening is not very great. And I'm not just saying it for the church, I'm saying it for my counseling practice too. See, I thought I was doing the best I could do with no money. And so I was taking full advantage of free stuff. Only problem was my free stuff wasn't getting a return. The workshop that I went to was led by a guy who, while in college, took a class on how to design websites. And he designed one, and it became such a hit, he started designing more. Then he decided to go to law school, but he needed to make a living going through law school. So him and a friend of his opened an Amazon business, started selling stuff online. And the main thing they sold was some kind of outdoor thing, rape or something like that. And he said he still remembered the day he made his first sale, and he cleared $2.44 in profit. And he was so excited, but his wife wasn't. But he took some classes on how to market, how to market his business, and how to get attention online, and so forth. And eventually, in his business, he had a partner. The two of them were selling over $120,000 a day. And he paid his way through law school doing that. When he got out of law school, he wanted to do some other things, so him and his partner decided to sell the business. And shall I say, it came out very good in that deal. He moved to Virginia. He married a girl. And he was already married, but they moved to work with her dad in a ministry. And he started a little consulting business on the side. And he's very, very successful today. And it's because he understands how to market their business. Now you might say, well, I just don't like how I did marketing in church. Well, then we won't grow. Now, where is this going? I know that's what you're saying. Daniel chapter 1, verse 21. Just one little verse today. Daniel 1, verse 21. Thus Daniel continued until the first year of King Cyrus. And you may say, that's a strange verse. Why would you settle in on that? Well, let's remember where Daniel was. Daniel was a member of one of the leading families in Judean society, probably related to the royal family. Had a very bright future as a young man. I'm sure his parents had already kind of laid that future out for him, because he was going to grow up and be a leader in Jerusalem. That's what happened. That's just the way it was. And so they had all these plans in mind for what Daniel was going to do. And in fact, he pretty much had the script in hand of what he was to do in his youth to become the man and the leader his parents wanted him to be as an adult. But there was a problem. What was the problem? A little people called Babylonians. If you remember, because the people in Jerusalem had turned their back on God, God sent Jeremiah to call them to repentance, and the people refused. If you remember, Jeremiah's original message was repent or else. So if they would repent, the Babylonians would go away. But eventually, as they continued to refuse to listen to what Jeremiah said and refuse to repent as he called them to do, the message changed. And when the message changed, it became judgment is coming. There's no option now. The only option was, Jeremiah said, when you see the Babylonians encircle the city, if you'll go out and surrender, it'll go well with you. But if you stay inside the city walls, you will die. And we know from the story what happened. The Babylonians came, they laid siege to the city. Those who heeded the words of Jeremiah went out and surrendered. The Babylonians let them go. And those who stayed in the city died once the Babylonians finally attacked the city. But during that period of time, Jeremiah made a strange statement for someone. And that was, when you get there, do not listen to the false prophets who tell you we're going back home quickly. Because when you get there, you're going to be there for 70 years. Now what that meant was, most everybody they took back would never come back. Most everybody they took to Babylon would never come back to where they were. They would die in Babylon. Okay? Now, some like Daniel were children when they went. Some of them maybe made it back as older adults. But here was Daniel, part of this first group to be deported. And that was the one where they took all the young and future leaders back to Babylon. Daniel was in that group. And as they took Daniel back, Daniel's script had to be replaced. See, he had all kinds of ideas of how life was going to go. And now all that was out the window. And God gave him a new script. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had times in my life where I thought I had it all planned out, all figured out. It's going to go like this, and I'm going to do this, and this is going to happen, all this wonderful stuff is going to happen. And of course, in all my plans, it always turned out wonderful and predictable. The problem was, for me, at least in my journey, God never honored that script. I thought I'd sat down and I'd written it out really good. This is how it's going to go, right here. This is my guide. But then God would bring circumstances into my life that would just tear that thing to all pieces. And he gave me a new script. Have you ever been through that? You thought you had it figured out? And then out of the blue, unexpectedly, everything changed. My uncle worked for a company 40 years. And one Friday they walked in and said, we're closing at 5 o'clock today. He was in his 60s and had to start over. See, he had a script that he'd been playing off of for 40 years, because his idea was, one day when I get tired of working, I'm going to retire with this company, and they've got a pretty good retirement, everything's going to be wonderful. And God just went, and he had to start over at another company in his 60s. He thought he had it figured out, but God changed the script. Daniel thought he had it figured out, but God changed the script. We may think we have it figured out sometimes, but then God comes along and he changes the script. Now, what happens when God changes the script? Do we like that? No. I told y'all my story of losing that job at Fort Rucker. That day, my script got ripped up in front of me, I was not happy. Because I worked hard on that script. I mean, I had everything in place I was going to get this real cushy job, making a whole lot of money, not having to do a whole lot of work, and I had all the pieces in place for it to happen. And it did. God just ripped it up. And instead said, here's your new script. Now, I know as conservatives, as most of us are, don't we just love change? Oh man, love change. Change is so wonderful. Change, we don't like change. Kind of goes against our nature for things to change. Even if they think things change for the better, we sometimes, I just don't know about this. You got to change. But God requires it. God requires change. And many times He's orchestrating circumstances that just about the time we think we've got it all figured out and we've kind of got our cushy nest made, He comes along and just messes up the whole thing. And says, here's your new script. Congratulations, you got cancer. Here's your new script. Now go walk it out. Congratulations, you just lost your job after 40 years. Here's your new script. Go walk it out. And we love it. Right? No, we don't. We don't love it. Because we think we've got it figured out. And God just comes along and rips that thing up. So nice. Daniel thought he had it figured out. And on that way to Babylon, I'm sure he remembered what Jeremiah had said. You're not coming back for 70 years. All those expectations got ripped up. All those plans got ripped up. Now, did Daniel become something great in Babylon? Yes. Had it not been for Babylon, we would have never heard of it. Had it not been for Babylon, we'd have never heard of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Had it not been for Babylon, we would have never heard of Ezekiel. Had it not been for Babylon, there would be no fiery furnace story. Had it not been for Babylon, there would be no in the lion's den story. But all that in Babylon happened because God had to rip up some plans that people had made for what life was going to be like in Israel. Now, you say, well, where in the world is all this going? It's going here. I know we don't like change. I don't like change. And I can tell you one thing that will never change in this church, as long as I'm here, is the message. The message should never change. But the methods must always change. You know, I remember years ago, and there's still some churches around here that run the bus routes to haul in kids, but that used to be the big thing. Churches would have school buses and they haul in kids from all over the place. You know what churches found out? That's hard work. And it's hard to find people who want to keep doing it. And so what happened gradually, one by one, that fell by the wayside. That's just a method. That was a method that came. Mostly it came because some larger churches in many places did it and it worked. And then smaller churches tried to do it here and it did. It was just a method. That wasn't the message. Methods always change. But the message should never change. And so my encouragement for all of us, since I know we love change so much, if we really want to see things grow around here, We're gonna have to be open to people as they are today, that are gonna come here looking for answers. They're gonna come here looking for support. Doesn't mean that we compromise the truth. It just means that when they come here, they don't have to go into a time warp and land in Mayberry to be here. Like I said, I love Mayberry. I wish life was still that way. But it's not. And we don't need to take something that we all have things, since most of us have walked in the Lord a long time, we all have things in our past that were really special to us, and God did special things, and God did monumental things, and important things, and maybe whatever it was really cost us at that time. And we sometimes feel like, well, everybody ought to find this meaningful. But they don't. It's like when we went to Vicksburg years ago to see the battlefield. When we got there, I made an observation once we got to where the battlefield was. You know what the observation was? Nobody lives there. Now the thing's laid out just like it was. The day of the battle, or days of the battle, everything's laid out, the house is still there, everything's just like it was in 1863. But nobody lives there. In fact, there wasn't even a guide there. We drove up in the parking lot, we were the only ones there. So we guided ourselves. Nobody was there. Something that was very monumental and very special, and a lot of families' lives were dramatically touched by what happened there. And something that if you love history like I do, you just want to sit there and say, wow, this is something. Wow, I never envisioned this, I never did. And you just love soaking all that in. But you know what? Nobody lives there. Life's moved on. Vicksburg has been rebuilt. Except for the battlefield, where we built a monument to something that happened in 1863. Now, I love visiting stuff like that. But I have no desire to live there. And we got to be careful. I got to be careful. And when somebody new comes here and I'm saying, hey, do you remember what happened in Dothan in 82? Do you remember how powerful that was in 82? And they weren't even alive in 82. And they look at me like, what? Man, it was great. It was wonderful. It was so powerful. Okay. I can't live there. I got to move on to where the people are. Do I always appreciate it? Yes, I do. See, a lot of folks don't know because he never would talk about it. But my dad, when he first got out of the seminary, was offered a job to work for Billy Graham. We went up there. Still remember. I was just a little rascal, but I still remember going up to whatever, what do they call that thing? The port or something like that? The code. Yeah. And they offered him the job. He turned it down. He turned it down because he wanted to come to Dothan and build a church that was open to anyone of any race. And you know what they got? Fire. And his reputation destroyed. Now, he didn't go around and tell people, hey, you know what? Billy Graham tried to hire me. He never would talk about it. Only his family did. But when people in Dothan were treating him like mud because he said the gospel is for everyone, all races, Everywhere. They didn't know. They thought they were talking to a country bumpkin. They didn't realize he had turned every job over to the earth. So he could be in Dothan. Now, I know that. Now you know that. But I don't go around to people at the Ark every day and say, hey, do you know my dad was offered a job by Boomer? First of all, most of them who are down there now don't even know who my dad was.
And a lot of them don't know who Billy Graham was.
Well, that's true too. In fact, now when I go down there and they say, who are you? I'll just point to the picture on the wall and say, that's my folks. Oh, okay. Now, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. We all have things in our life that were tough spiritually. Or when God did something very monumental in us. But we can't base today on what happened 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, or 60 years ago. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Can you handle it? I'm going to say like I told Joe, brace yourself. I'm going to tell you the truth. Most folks don't care. So do we still agree? Do we? Are we willing to meet people where they are instead of trying to take them back to Mayberry? If we are, we can do it. We can do it. I'm telling you, there's enough people in this town who go nowhere that if they knew they could meet God here and they could find what they're looking for here, they'd fill this place up. But right now, they don't know that. They don't even know we're here. We're just that church they fly by on the way to the lake. I want to change that. And if you want to grow, we got to change it. People got to know we're here. And if we can get this media stuff set up right, they're going to know what we preach here. They can go on YouTube now. That's a scary thought. We might better not put this one up. And I'm not trying to get on anybody or anything like that. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just trying to be honest. But I honestly believe this place can grow. I believe there's people in this town that are looking for a church where people will tell them the truth. And do it in a loving way. So if that's what you want, I'm going to invite you today to pray a dangerous prayer. I'm going to invite you today to say, God, I thought I had it figured out till now. That you're calling us to something a whole lot different than the way I thought things were going to be. I give you my script voluntarily. Give me yours. Give me yours. And we're going to get aggressive. Now, I know you say, well, I'm 80 years old. I don't feel like aggression. There's still some fire in there. There's still fire in there. If you're here, if you're still here, God's still got something for you to do. There's still people that need your influence. So we're going to get aggressive and start spreading that influence around. Wouldn't you love to do that? If you're gonna grow, it's what it's gonna cost. Growth costs. Now, like I said, I know we wish God just put folks in a trance and they come walking in. That doesn't happen. We have a part to play in that too. All right. So if you want that, if you really want growth, I'm going to pray, close this out. But I just invite you where you are to pray. Give God the script you've got right now. God, I thought all along this is the way it's all going to turn out. But I'm beginning to see it's not going to work that way. You've got something for me to do today, and it's likely going to be different from what I did 10 years ago. And we thank God that you walked in the Spirit 20 years ago, but are you today? The gifts you had then are just as present today. Now, if all that touches a chord, that inside of you, that's God saying, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to give you the new script so that you can start doing what I need you to do today. Father, I thank you that, Lord, I know we don't like change, and we're glad, Lord, that you're the God who changes not when it comes to truth, when it comes to your character. But I also know that when it comes to methods, we have to change, or we become irrelevant. And Lord, I know the message can never change, but help us, Lord, to be sensitive to the methods. Help us, Lord, to see that maybe the way we were approaching things in the past isn't working. And Lord, help us to give you the script that we've been using. You give us another script. You give us the guide, Father. You lead us. If we really want this place to grow, and we feel like you want it to grow, we pray, Lord, that you will guide us to make contact with the people that you're working on. And help us, Lord, to be sensitive, to being led by the Spirit to make contact with these people. And Lord, when they come, help us to be friendly and help us to be inviting and help us, Lord, even if we're a little timid, to have the courage to step up and try to make people feel welcome here. And Lord, I thank you that you are on the throne. And I also thank you that you decided to many times use us as part of the plan. So Lord, I pray that we will do our part. In Jesus' name, amen. Lessons on this week. Somebody needs your influence. Give it to them. Give it to them.